Okay. 4.
Georgia's living well. Learn more right after this.
If you're looking for a new pet that your family will cherish every day, consider adopting from a shelter. Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. That's where you'll discover healthy, loyal, and loving animals, eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet, so bring home your new buddy today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg, you're sitting in my chair.
Or you were sitting in mine.
Correct. How are you? How's it feel over there?
It's a little different after 8 years of sitting there.
It's too much responsibility here.
It's
You know, I know you carry the show, so it's a little heavy for me to be here.
Well, you'll get used to it.
Well,
yeah, it just kind of comes naturally for you.
I don't know about that.
But speaking of that, that's a good segue into our topic. We will talk about aging today, and there's a lot of services.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, as we both are aging, there are a lot of services in this area for the aging population that people may not know about some of these services. So we'll be talking about that today.
Well, I guess we've done a few shows on those kinds of services, and I will say that I learned a lot when we had to deal with, well, really more my wife Paula's parents. And my father passed summer before last, but I was not there dealing with it as much, and I would have liked to have known more going into that experience than having to learn it, as it was happening. And I know you've had experiences like that as well. So the show today, we have Ramona Hambrick, who is, and it has such a long title. It took 3 of my pages, not really 3, but I'll save the title for when she comes out and joins us, so she can correct me. But it should be a really interesting show. I hope you stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're very pleased to have with us today Ms. Ramona Hambrick, who is a home and community-based caseworker with the Northwest Georgia Area Agency on Aging. Is that close?
That is very close indeed. In fact, it's the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission.
All right, I knew there was something. I knew there was something.
The Area Agency on Aging is just a part of the commission.
So just the weight of that title must keep you very busy. But I guess I need to know, and I'll start with the basic because you know more about this. Tell me a little bit about the agency and what you do.
Okay. The Area Agency on Aging, there are 12 in the state of Georgia, and my particular program is funded through the Older Americans Act. We offer the gateway to resources in the aging network. We offer free services to folks over the age of 60 and people of any age who have a dementia diagnosis. But we also do information and assistance referrals. So for instance, if someone wanted information on how to locate a nursing home or how to access home delivered meals or any adult services, they would call our agency. We have screeners on staff who do assessments based on that person's needs, and then we try to find resources to help them in the community.
Well, I'm thinking as you're going through all this, I'm thinking, boy, that is such a good idea. That is such a good idea. So how long has this been in existence?
The Area Agency on Aging has been here for a very long time. I have been in the aging business for about 27 years.
Wow.
So longer than that, and it seems to be a pretty well kept secret. Although people know about our programs such as home delivered meals, people who get Meals on Wheels, or people who get the homemaker services or respite, people who get congregate meals at the senior centers, all of those programs come through our agency. They just don't know that our agency is where it starts. But any kind of service like that, we would do the referral again. So we've been around for a while. My particular part of it, I do case management. So for folks who might need extra assistance, who may live in their home, but aren't eligible for, say, like a Medicaid program, I might help them access the service in the community that they would pay for. Or if they need assistance filling out forms like food stamps or Medicaid, things like that. So there's another case manager in our office, and the two of us do that. We cover 15 counties in Northwest Georgia, and so we are active in all of those counties. Our agency covers Northwest.
So let me ask, go ahead.
Go ahead, no.
Let me ask you this. So basically, if you're over 60, let's say my mom was living, she's over 60, and I just have questions about services. So even if there's no necessary problem at the time, I should give your office a call just to find out what services are available to her, which might be free or those that might be paid for.
Yes. We have a resource developer who is on staff. Every area agency has one. Our database has over 3,000 resources for everything that you could possibly need, whether it be home modifications or whether they need private sitters. We don't guarantee any of those services, but we do have access to all of the information, no matter what it is. If they need a ramp built, if they don't have money to pay for it, we have access to information on how to get grants, on rural development, on energy assistance, anything that an individual would need. And our home and community-based services are eligible regardless of income. A lot of folks have questions. They say, well, I make too much money to receive Medicaid. Well, that's okay. We still have information for them as well. So income has nothing to do with it.
So really, what you're really saying that if you have a parent or a loved one, or if you are over 60, before you access any services, even if you can afford it, it still would be in your best interest to call them just to find out what's all available.
If you want to do the research and you want the information, when they call, they can specifically ask for what they want, or they can give us a general idea, and one of our screeners can go through the database and send them all of the information for whichever area. We can pinpoint it to the county, to the city, to somewhere else in the state even. So we have all of the information in that database.
Now, from my experience, and I'm sure many people have had this experience of really making no advanced preparations, and something happens, and then you're just thrown into this maze of medical services and a lot of those things that you mentioned, nursing homes and sitters and home modification, all of these things, and most of that we did, found our own way, but it was hugely stressful. And if I had only known how to reach you, we would have, you would have gotten tired of hearing from us.
And we won't get tired of hearing from you. And a lot of people don't know that we do have access to that. You mentioned nursing home. The Georgia Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program are the advocates for people who live in long-term care to make sure that their rights are protected. We can access their services. Any of the partners in the community, whether it be adult protective services, if you need assistance with someone who's getting out of the hospital and they don't know how to navigate the home health system, or any of those questions, even if it's just a question and there's actually nothing tangible we can give, we can still give that kind of information. So it is unfortunate that most people don't know about our services until they don't need them anymore or until it's too late. But we're out there and we do have all of these things available, and we can link you up with waivered programs such as Medicaid waivered programs, such as CCSP, which is the Community Care Program, or SOURCE, or the Independent Care Waiver Program. There are just so many different programs available that folks just don't have the information for, and that's why we want to get it out so you'll know who to contact.
Now, were you better prepared?
No, I was not. I was just telling
Did
her.
you know about this and you did not tell me?
I did not know. I was just telling Ramona, when we went through the ordeal with my mom, it was just such a battle of the number of phone calls you had to make to get to the right person to get half of what you needed. Yeah. It really was. It was an ordeal, and the frustrating part about it was just not being able, feeling that I don't know what to do next, and I don't know who to talk to next, and what do I do, because you have a loved one, you want to make sure they're getting what they need. And I didn't. And so, Ramona, that brings the question to mind for me. What do you think the biggest barrier is when it comes to long-term care or aging care? Why is there such a barrier there?
From my experience, a lot of the providers and the things that you describe, those are businesses. Our agency is a nonprofit agency. We are funded by state and federal funds, so our services don't cost anything. When you go to a long-term care facility or when you use an agency and you're paying out of pocket, that is a business. Even if it is a not-for-profit, it is still a business. And so they're running on a business module. So you may not get, not to say that they don't give good service, but you may not get a well-rounded view of the information that's available because it is a business. So for me, that's probably the biggest barrier to getting everything that you need.
So then, if let's say I need an ambulance service, my mom dialysis can't, whatever. So I need to find the ambulance services that takes Medicaid or whatever. So I'm calling the company. So what you're saying is the business you're in is to get me all the information I need to make the appropriate call to the appropriate people.
Right, and we do it for free.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. I feel, it's so great that this exists, but I'm really unhappy that I didn't know about those people. But I know about it now, so.
Well, we're doing the show so that people won't have to go through that same experience.
People are probably calling each other right now to believe what they have. So before the show's over, you'll get all the contact information you need. I remember when my mother broke her shoulder, this is some years ago, and she was going to be wheelchair bound for a while. My father, who was still living then, of course, built a ramp that you could have landed a plane on. I mean, it was a permanent structure. And then we were so disappointed when the ambulance came and they carried her into the house, and they didn't even use the ramp. And the ramp used to be, and then the grandkids used it to skateboard on after that. But I'm thinking if we'd had some guidance on ramps and people who knew what they were doing, then my father wouldn't have had to have built a runway.
At all.
At all.
Yeah.
So things like that, just not knowing.
Right. And a lot of people don't. And one of the other really good programs, it's a statewide program, it's called Money Follows the Person. This is a Medicaid funded program which helps folks transition from the nursing home back into the community. and they would access it if someone has been in the nursing home for at least 90 days, and one of those days being paid for by Medicaid, because it is a Medicaid funded program. They can access our options counselors. We have options counselors who go into every nursing home in the 15 county area, who talk to folks who want to go back into the community. If they are entered into the program, then Medicaid has funds to assist them with buying new furniture, with finding a place to live, with building ramps, with building other things that'll make them make their lives accessible for them to live in the community.
Well, we're coming up on a break in just a few seconds here. So when we come back, lots more discussion. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're thrilled to have with us today Ramona Hambrick, who is a home and community-based caseworker with, all right, help me with the agency name now.
It's the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission Area Agency on Aging.
On Aging, all right.
Before we went to break, Ramon, you was talking about a program, Money Follows the Person. And I want to make sure I get this right. So let's say a person was in a nursing home 90 days, they want to come back home, they get accepted to the program. There are funds, Medicaid funds, that can help them transition.
Yes.
What about for those services? Because when you start thinking about nursing home, you think about kind of round the clock, skilled labor, skilled care. Are the funds available for such of those things?
What they try to do is, before the person leaves, of course, they have to be appropriate for the program. They have to be able to live in the community with the resources that are available in the community. So we would try to get them on a Medicaid waivered program. Again, as I said, community care or independent care waiver or SOURCE are some of our waiver programs. Those would provide in-home services. They wouldn't provide 24-hour around-the-clock services. So, of course, we would look for family support, community support to help this person. But also, the funding would pay for any home modifications that were necessary or any other equipment that's going to help this person to live in their home independently. Because the theory is that it's less expensive for them to live through Medicaid funds in the community than it is to pay for a nursing home. Because nursing home is really quite expensive. So in the end, if a person, people probably would prefer to live in their own home. Yes.
And then two, it's less expensive to live in their own home. So the funds are basically there to help, I guess, mostly with remodification or modification of homes.
There are funds for that. The program is a 12-month program. So for the 12 months following the discharge, the transition coordinator would follow them. They have money to buy furniture for them, to buy some medical equipment, to make home modifications, to make vehicle modifications. They won't buy the vehicle, but they'll make the modification if they need it. And there's some other things to help them with grocery startup. It's to start them back into a community life. It's not to sustain. It won't pay their rent. Every month they would have to be able to budget and that kind of thing. But still, it would give them a head start and help them start back in the community. That's just one of the really good programs, because we also have a registered licensed dietitian on staff. And we have a Living Well, we call Georgia's Living Well program. We do several evidence-based programs. We do the chronic disease self-management program out of Stanford University, which is a 6-week program. We do that in the community. That does not have any age requirement. There are 3 master trainers at our agency. We train lay leaders as well, and we're going to do that in October in Bartow County. We did one in Floyd County last August, but the class looks at the whole person and not the disease. We talk about ways to sleep better, ways to manage your emotions, ways to communicate with other people, and just how to live a better life. We also do another evidence-based program, which is called Powerful Tools for caregivers, because we also look at the caregiver issues. Part of our case management is to work with caregivers and help them manage themselves, their time, because caring for somebody with a long-term illness or chronic condition stresses people out really bad.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Stresses physically, mentally, financially, you know, and so there are 6 lessons to that as well, 6 weeks. We have those coming up in Jasper, and we have another series coming up in Cartersville. So we have all of these things going on. We have all these things for folks
Are they
who
free?
need resources, absolutely free.
Now, see, that is a class I know with us talking. You know, that guilt, you know, when you're caring for someone that you love, you know, and it's your mom, it's whoever, at some point, you know, you get tired. You are
Absolutely.
tired, but then you feel so guilty for being selfish, you feel. And so I gotta do it, I have to do it, and I have to do it, but you want to do it, but after a while, it's just so draining. And that was, I guess, one of the hardest things for me and my siblings is coming to the realization that, you know, we can't do it all.
Right,
You know, this is not what we're trained for. This is not what we do.
right.
But having just the vehicle to discuss that, you know, the expectations. You know, it would have been nice, you know, in retrospect, to have been able to sit down with somebody and say, okay, this is what you can expect. These are some of the things that will happen. Because you go in there and say, we have to do it, you know, and a couple of weeks later, you're like, oh my goodness.
What did I get myself into?
Yeah, because it is so
Right.
much. But then the thought of putting your loved one in a nursing home or somewhere else is just, you know, it's like I can't do that. But
Right.
the realization that it is a full-time job caring for someone.
It absolutely is. And most caregivers also have full-time jobs.
Full-time
They
job.
also have full-time families. We also do a program that is a one-on-one program called T-Care, or Tailored Care. And in that program, that requires a certification. I would do a one-on-one interview with the caregiver away from the care receiver. And the basis of it is to talk about these feelings and to look at where they find themselves, whether it is more of a relative or caregiver, you know, what is the potential that they may have to place this person, but it really looks at the caregiver and the things that they're going through. One of the main things with the caregiver program, the first part is taking care of you. So that's the whole first set of sessions, because most caregivers forget to take care of themselves while they're taking care of somebody else.
Well, just hearing some of this, and I'm kind of getting the sense that you're giving us sort of the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot more. And you cover how many counties?
15.
Now that can't be you covering 15 counties.
There are 2 case managers at the agency. There is a whole department of screeners who do the initial screening. Again, there are 3 certified master trainers who do the chronic disease self-management program, and we also use volunteers. But now our agency also does other things. We have Georgia Cares. Those are the Medicare specialists who deal with Medicare issues. We have somebody who deals with just about every facet of aging in our agency. So no, definitely it's not just me. There's a whole team. There's a whole
'Cause
team.
you are wearing me out with all this. This is a
Well-
lot to even remember.
It absolutely
And
is.
speaking of which, I'm sure there must be a site or somewhere that folks could go to find out all of these things and read about them and see what the options are.
Well, we do have a website. It's Northwest Georgia Regional Commission website. We are also on Facebook under Northwest Georgia Aging and Disability Resource. And I believe they're also on Twitter.
Twitter.
I don't tweet.
I don't tweet, but our information is also on Twitter. So we are online. We do have a website.
Well, we'll make sure we repeat all of that
Okay.
at the end of the show for folks who want to write it down.
But all of this is up under the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission.
It is.
So I had no idea that these type of services. Well, to be honest, with you, I don't know what the commission does. I know they do a little bit of they do a lot. So I'm not exactly sure, but I didn't know that these services came up under the umbrella of Northwest Regional Commission.
Well, under the umbrella of the Regional Commission, we have
She's so
the
prepared, isn't she?
community
This is crazy.
and I know community and economic development, the business lending services, aging services, which is the Area Agency on Aging. We have the Workforce Investment Program, which is the WIA program
about
under
the
Department of
WIA.
Labor. We have the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, and they have planning services. So the commission does a lot.
See, now I knew about the WIA and the economic development. So I knew about those two, but I did not know about the other one.
A lot of people call it AAA. They have other names they refer to it. A lot of people, when you're talking about the services that we do, again, like the home delivered meals and things like that, Meals on Wheels, they don't know that this is where it comes from.
Well, tell me a little bit more about the Living Well. I know you went through it
Okay.
briefly, but that concept sounds really interesting to me.
Okay.
I'm curious.
Well, the Georgia Department of Human Services, under the Division of Aging Services, has the Living Well section, livable communities, all types of Living Well programs. But the license for the Chronic Disease Self-Management Program lies with the Division of Aging Services. And again, we have our licensed registered dietitian. She also does falls prevention. She does better balance classes. She does all kinds of classes. We do the farmers market every summer. Just about anything you can think
when
of.
you do the farmers market, what do you mean?
The farmers market through the senior centers, because a lot of the programs that take place at our senior centers in all of our different counties come through the Area Agency on Aging. And so last year, I'm not certain how they're going to do it this year, but last year they're in different areas. We have local farmers, and through the state there are vouchers. The clients were able to get $20 vouchers and come through and pick fruits, vegetables
nice.
from the local farmers. Again, no charge to the seniors. They were bussed in from their senior centers. Our staff came, worked it, helped them put it in the bags, and that's
So
just
really
part
it's
of our
a
living
win-win
well.
for everybody. I mean, so the senior citizens, the seniors benefited, and the local farmers.
And the farmers benefited.
benefited, right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, that's and all of this is on that.
All of that's under our living well, and everything is under the AAA banner.
All right. Well, we don't have a lot of time left.
I'm still trying to take it all in.
I know, it's a
I'll
lot.
be honest
It's
with
a
you.
lot.
It is, but it's a lot. But it's needed. It's
Oh,
needed
yeah.
information.
I'm just mad that I didn't know about it when I really needed it. But sadly, I guess we'll all need it
We'll
again.
need it again,
Yes,
or someone that love us would need it.
oh,
Yeah, you know. But
let's not go there. We're going to take another break here in a second. When we come back, we will give you that contact information again so you can find out all about the services that are being offered. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Packers. Vikings. Packers. Vikings. Vikings.
Red state, blue state, vegan,
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
downtown.
Optimist.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities,
Live
our families,
united.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Oh, here I was looking at this contact information for all of this. This is all this information. Here's a phone number if you want to call and get information about some of these services for aging-related offerings.
yes,
706-295-6955. 6485. 706-295-6485. And the website is Northwest Georgia AAA.org. NorthwestGA-AAA.org. I want to thank our guests. I want to thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.